Welcome to Taskforce Geek. My name is Dirk Cooper, and I'm joined today by Shawn.
Yep.
There he is. And by Scott.
Howdy.
And this is it. It's just us. Before we get started, let me talk about what led up to this smaller, shorter episode of Taskforce Geek tonight. On Saturday night, we had a rogue storm here in Oklahoma, and 80,000 people lost power, and that included both Shawn and myself. And we just got our power restored not too terribly long ago. So basically, we decided at the last minute to go ahead and let the show go on and do our best to have an episode. And so it's just going to be our regular group here tonight. Does anyone have anything to say about that? Scott, you didn't get affected on Saturday night?
Surprisingly, while the hurricane blasted through more, around here, or at least I didn't lose power. Now, about 8 years ago, if there was a thunderstorm, we lost power. I mean, it didn't matter what type of thunderstorm. And finally, I think the system got wrecked enough in my neighborhood where they actually had to, instead of Band-Aid it up, actually replace it. And we've kept power quite a bit now, more than we ever have in the past. So, no, I didn't get too affected. I did leave my my neighborhood Sunday morning early, and there was a trampoline that I guess blew over somebody's house and was right dab in the middle of a big brick mailbox. So I took a picture of that, and I thought that was interesting. So, but no, I'm pretty good here. But a lot of people down in Norman lost power, I know for sure. So
Norman got hit, and South Oklahoma City got hit, which is what did Shawn and I in. Shawn, you got any comments about losing power? That's no fun.
I just did a lot of sketching.
Did y'all just sit in a hot house?
In the dark. I went to see my mom.
Yeah, definitely.
That was the way that I thought was probably the best way to go there.
I stayed home.
Ken says nothing regular about you guys. Thanks, buddy. Jerry says hey. And Jeffrey enjoys the boss cross comment. All right. All the stories and questions that we're talking about tonight were shared on the Taskforce Geek Quora space. Join us on there to get a preview of what we could be talking about next week. Taskforce Geek on Quora now has over 500,000 followers, and it's right there. There it is. We are broadcasting live on my Facebook account, which is right there. And also there's our Facebook account. I'm sorry. That's our YouTube account. And we're about 30 people away. If you're watching us right now, even if you're not on YouTube, please go subscribe to us. We're 30 people away from getting a channel that just says Taskforce Geek, like normal people have.
That'd be nice, right?
Yeah. And for the life of me, I don't understand why YouTube makes you jump through hoops for that, but there it is. The main thing that I want to focus on tonight, and maybe every night, is our Taskforce Geek Facebook group. We have had a lot of really cool people, including our guests from the last 2 weeks, post stuff in there. Walt's post some stuff in there, and we encourage you to post some stuff in there. Post some artwork. If you're promoting something, please put it in there. If you want to talk about something geeky, if there's a news story or anything, put it in there, and we're all in there. We'll reply to you, and we get a kick out of seeing what's happening, and we'd like to encourage you to join us there. Also, finally, if you're a comic artist or illustrator, Shawn and I are going to do something different. We're going to offer a portfolio review. If you're interested, doing just kind of a video of us talking about your artwork. We're not the best artists in the world, but we've been around. We've done this for a while. Speaking for Shawn, he was an instructor for several years and has been a professional graphic artist. And I've been a professional artist for a very long time. And, if you're just getting started and you don't have anyone besides your parents or your friends to show your artwork to, we'll be glad to take a look at your artwork. And we're going to try to get Scott involved in that as well. If you're interested in that, good.
I'll send my stuff in. Y'all can review my stuff.
I hope right. Also, in addition to that, we might have guests on that deal. It's going to be something separate from this, but on the Taskforce Geek YouTube channel. Get in touch with us, taskforcegeek@gmail.com, please. our first story tonight is Marvel would reportedly love for Charlie Cox to return as Daredevil. Kristen Ritter and John Bernthal have been heavily rumored to return as Jessica Jones and the Punisher, respectively, in various upcoming projects, but most of the speculation is centered on Charlie Cox's Daredevil. Matt Murdock has been linked to everything from an appearance as Peter Parker's lawyer in Spider-Man 3 to an R-rated solo movie, and now a new report claims that The Man Without Fear could be set to return in a potential adult-skewing Punisher series. As per the report from tipster Mickey Sutton, Marvel is reportedly considering bringing back John Bernthal for another run as the Punisher, but the show could be sent to FX or Hulu in order to avoid sanitizing the notoriously violent vigilante for Disney+. Not only that, but they would love for Cox's Daredevil to appear in a supporting role and are even discussing the idea of roping in Samuel L. Jackson's Nick Fury so that the actor can finally drop some of his signature F-bombs in the MCU. What do you guys think?
I mean, I can only speak from seeing Daredevil season 1. Surprisingly, I actually watched it.
Hang on a second. Do you have a candle in the background?
Oh, I do. I'm sorry. I love dude.
Is this a very special episode of Taskforce Geek?
Yeah, we're about to get really intimate. I found out the older I get, the more I really enjoy scented candles, especially the ones that smell like oranges and cranberries and stuff. So,
oh boy, it's all coming out tonight, folks.
I have 2 of them going on over there, and my room smells amazing. And I'm sure I'm getting some type of weird cancer that I'll die from in 10 years. But I almost go through like a couple of candles a month for sure, and I'd light them more if I could get away with it. I'm scared I'm going to leave them on and walk out of the house and set the house on fire. But anyways, about Daredevil.
Sorry, buddy.
I've seen Daredevil season 1. I thought it was a really good show. I mean, like, I didn't want to watch it, but my roommate at the time was watching it, and I got hooked in and watched it. I think John, I don't know how to pronounce his last name, Bernthal or whatever. Bernthal. I think he's great for the Punisher, and I did not watch Daredevil season 2, but I would, as a guy who just sees visually him, he's perfect for that role. I heard nothing but good things. I don't know why this hasn't been a done deal since the beginning. I don't know, like, is it Marvel that wants him back, but Disney's so-so? I mean, like, somebody's dragging their feet behind the scenes, and either way, I mean, I don't know why you wouldn't. You've already told all these origin stories. Now you can get to really good storylines. People aren't going to care.
I can answer that question for you.
Okay, go for it.
They had an embargo on being able to use these characters because Netflix originally had the rights to these characters. There's an embargo on those characters until for Daredevil it's December of this year. Daredevil was the last one because he was the last one to have a series out. So once we hit December, the Marvel or Disney has the rights to those characters back again, and if they so choose, they can rehire the same actors that they had.
So they just can't bring up, we're going to hire him come December 13th. Is that really like a legal thing?
Yeah.
Kind of. Okay. All right.
From what I hear, I'm not, I'm not a member of Marvel Studios. But apparently until December, they can't really make an announcement. But all of, there's so many rumors on this stuff that I think some of it might be true. I didn't mean to necessarily interrupt you, but I did want to answer that question.
No. I mean, anyways, they had great cast of everybody, including the guy who played Kingpin. Right. I mean, even Foggy Nelson was like a likable guy, right? I mean,
for once.
If you could do that, then keep it going, man. So
yeah, I kind of feel the same way. Shawn, what do you think, man?
I've said from the beginning, Daredevil was magnificent, and John Bernthal as the Punisher. Nothing against Thomas Jane or even Dolph Lundgren.
Right.
But John Bernthal, he's not playing the Punisher. He is the Punisher. He embodied that character better than any actor I've seen. And I really enjoyed the Thomas Jane Punisher. But yeah, Bernthal's just, he is the Punisher, and so to continue with that actor, that's a no-brainer. You need to do that.
And like I said, I don't, they've already laid down all the origin stories. So now we can get some really awesome stories without having to go through, well, how did he become so jaded and all these things that you have to kind of get out of the way.
But I think one of the things they're talking about is doing a, instead of following the Punisher as it was on Netflix going into the War Journal. So
right.
They're not going to disavow what happened on Netflix, but they're going to move on from it, or at least that's the rumors that I've heard. So seeing him kind of facing off in the Middle East and kind of showing a bit more of that background and whatnot. Let's do this. I think it'd be fantastic.
Let's put up what Gary says here. He says, I'm convinced studios leak info like this to test the waters and fan reaction. I don't think that's too far off the mark.
For sure.
I think they do a lot of this sort of stuff now, is just to see what people say. And I mean, if you kind of follow this sort of stuff like I do, people are pretty excited about the thought of bringing these. They're not done with these characters, and they really would like to see what Marvel does with them,
Literally,
I mean, if they're not tied to Netflix.
Literally, the moment that Netflix announced that was it for the Marvel shows, you heard the entire planet scream all at the same time. I think everybody that watched those shows was just kind of dumbfounded.
Yeah.
So
they're upset, and rightly so, because those shows were good.
Yeah, my only complaint, my only complaint was whenever they did Luke Cage and Iron Fist, it seemed like they had an idea for the first half of the season, and then they just didn't know what to do after.
I agree with that totally. I don't know why you have a long season if you only have 6 or 8 episodes that you really want to do.
Right. And personally, I dug those characters as well. I didn't have a problem with either of the actors. I would love to see Heroes for Hire. I would love to. I'd love to see him bring all that back. Now, will they? I don't know if they were as successful as Daredevil and the Punisher, but bring it all. I think it'd be fantastic.
That first season of Jessica Jones was really good too.
I've heard
the second one, not so much. I want to say that, I'm kind of wondering if they're actually going to be in the MCU this time, because they were kind of in like something would happen in a big Avengers film and they would mention it, on the show. But much like Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., it was only tangentially connected.
I don't know why you wouldn't keep them all connected.
But
I just don't know.
There were other issues that kept Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. separate from the MCU. Okay. There were political maneuverings behind the scenes that kept all of that kind of in its own corner. This head didn't want to bow to this person, and there was just a bunch of stupid third grader crap going on from all the stuff that I've read.
I like third grade.
Well,
I'm teasing. Keep going.
Anyway,
there was Kevin Feige was in charge of the movie stuff, and there was another guy whose name I cannot remember who was in charge of the television unit. And that's the guy who was at one time like half in control of the movie stuff, and is the reason why we didn't get a Black Widow movie early on. It's a reason why Captain Marvel wasn't in there earlier. It's a reason why certain action figures were not available. He was a big poison pill in the MCU. And when Kevin Feige began to have hit after hit, then Disney rewarded Feige with the entirety of the MCU, and then they demoted that dude to the television series, and there was a lot of friction between those two. Basically, Kevin Feige didn't share pertinent information with the other guy because he didn't really care. So it was the Agents of Shield was kind of involved, and the Netflix stuff was kind of involved, but now it's all under one banner. It's all under one person's control. So I would really like to see this official in the MCU, and it would be great to see the Punisher show up, the cool Punisher show up in a Spider-Man film or something, or whatever. I would really like for them to be totally rolled into the actual full-length big-time MCU.
I think he's also the reason why the Inhumans was so blah.
Oh, that was so bad. If you want to know what bad Marvel stuff is like, look at the Inhumans. Holy cats, that was terrible. And yes, that was 100% by that dude, which I cannot remember his name. Is anyone out there that's listening to this can remember that guy's name?
Help us.
Anyway, he has been summarily dismissed. Let's see. Does anyone have anything else to say? No, it looks like we are done. So we are going on to our next deal, which, by the way, I hope that Shawn Sexton is watching tonight, because he has talked about this character and about Ryan Reynolds
every time he's watching, he wants to talk about Green Lantern.
He has mentioned it, and now we actually have some rumor stuff for him. So hopefully he's on here and watching this. Zack Snyder confirms that Green Lantern will be a part of the Snyder Cut when it gets released next year on the HBO Max streaming service. Worth a mention is that this isn't the Green Lantern featured in the flashback scene, but is thought to be none other than Hal Jordan, possibly even played by Ryan Reynolds. A fan questioned Zack Snyder about what Zack meant about, quote, unite the seven. As the fan asked, "First of all, thanks for everything, Zack Snyder. I just have a question. What did you mean, unite the seven? A Green Lantern is coming, question mark?" Zack Snyder replied with a winking face smiley emoji. So he's being coy about it. But we're getting a lot of different rumors on that. Who wants to take this first?
Well, I had read something that Ryan Reynolds was open to the idea.
Hello, Marianne.
Nothing has been set in stone. Nothing has been contracted. I mean, it's just right now. It's all just internet chatter, I think.
It wasn't Joss Whedon, Ken.
It was Weldon. It's all just kind of up in the air at this moment, as all things are. But supposedly Ryan Reynolds is open to the idea. Now, do we need that? Not really. I personally, I'd rather them move forward with John Stewart and the Green Lantern Corps, and just do that. There's no reason to bring in a big market, a big ticket guy like Ryan Reynolds, especially with him voicing such kind of disdain for how the character was handled and how poorly the movie did and whatnot. There's no reason to revisit that.
Scott, what do you think?
When I first heard this, I thought, one, that would be kind of cool. I thought, two, maybe this is a parallel universe Green Lantern, since they kind of gave us glimpses of a different one, or whatever. What if this is Ryan Reynolds telling them, like, hey, I'm not doing any Deadpool stuff.
Right.
I'll come do some Green Lantern stuff to get that out there. So the Deadpool people or Fox or whoever goes, oh, wait a second. This very well could be a power play, or maybe even leaked information. So maybe they kind of, get their gears going on Deadpool, a Deadpool 3 movie, and sign Ryan Reynolds to that. So, I mean, don't be surprised by that either. I think it'd be cool, actually. And I think Ryan Reynolds is maybe cool enough that, he's not doing the other thing. Why don't he just do this right now? ruffle some feathers. I can see him doing that. I think that's part of the reason he likes Deadpool is because he can kind of be a little twit a little bit and say it's in character, and get away with it.
He's kind of doing his routine when he does Deadpool for sure.
I mean, if it happens, that's great. I'm with Shawn. I'd rather see Jon Stewart but he's my preferred Green Lantern anyways.
Well, we all agreed on that, which is pretty funny. It's pretty funny. We all picked Jon Stewart. Let me give people a little background on some of this. They're saying that the scene that in Justice League where Alfred is talking to someone and it turns out to be Superman, that was actually supposed to be Green Lantern. And they were saying that they were going to put a green cast on Alfred so that you could kind of try to figure out who that was. So that when that scene is shown again, it may be Green Lantern that is standing there and talking to him. And also, Shawn, in the last day or two, said, I think maybe yesterday, that he read somewhere that the Snyder Cut will feature 70% new footage.
Really?
The article said that approximately 75%.
Wow.
That's a lot of footage, dude.
Will have to be redone.
If they really put that much on the cutting room floor, I don't know what we're in for, but that is pretty cool.
I mean, pretty much a new movie, right?
I mean, that's a whole new movie. That's a whole new movie.
But if you remember back at the time that the movie came out, they were even talking about that pretty much, a small fraction of the movie of Snyder's vision of the movie actually stayed once Joss Whedon got a hold of it and the studio said take it in a different direction. Make it a little bit more lighthearted, make it a little bit more family friendly. Don't make it quite as dark. Don't make it quite as sinister or whatever. Don't make it as Snyder, and so yeah, I don't know how much of that was actually filmed or already in play.
At the time, they said that it was done, but it needed reshoots. And what reshoots became, I guess, is reshooting 3/4 of the movie and letting Joss Whedon piss off the cast, which is now coming out, and fundamentally changing everything about the movie, not tightening it up, but making it a Joss Whedon amalgam movie, which didn't do so well. Gary says that he agrees with Shawn. Reynolds hated GL. Bring in another member of the Corps.
Not to mention, getting back to what you were saying, I believe it's been stated that they are actually working on the script for the next Deadpool. It's not just sitting stale on a shelf. They are moving forward with it. I think.
Well, and keep in mind that Fox is Disney now. It's all the same.
Rob Liefeld, I think, is complaining because he thinks that nothing is moving because he needs to be involved at every turn of the corner.
Right.
Bob Iger has mentioned Deadpool off. Bob Iger is the guy who runs Disney. And he has mentioned Deadpool multiple times and has also said we could do a Deadpool movie that's rated R through the MCU. We're fine with that. They know there's money to be made there. And if there's money to be made, then Deadpool will happen.
That was one of the first comments he made after the Fox deal was Deadpool. So it's happening. It's just they're trying to get all the logistics down. They're trying to figure out what they're going to do with the
you got to figure out how you're going to introduce the mutants to the Marvel universe.
Do they want to bring this directly into the MCU? Do they want to keep it separate? How they're logistically how they're going to do all this. And right now, I think that's all they're figuring out. Ryan Reynolds has stated on a couple of occasions that it's in the works. They haven't given up on it. In fact, they're very supportive of it. They're supportive of the direction that Deadpool's gone in. They're not giving that up. they've seen what that movie has done on a extremely limited budget, and how the fans are just all over it. So yeah, it's not going anywhere. It's going to happen. It's just a matter of when.
Gary says, I'm actually really looking forward to the Snyder Cut, as am I. He didn't like Justice League. I wish HBO Max was easier to watch. Can't get it on Fire Stick.
Gary, it's really easy. You subscribe to it and you pay your monthly fee.
Dude.
Jesus.
Well, I can give him a hard time. I've known him for 30 plus years. We're like an old married couple.
You blew out the Earth's eardrums.
That's okay. The Earth needs that every now and then. I'll get really quiet, okay?
You're the loudest quiet person I know, man.
I've heard that before.
I'm actually looking forward to the new Justice League as well. It might suck. It might be absolutely terrible, but at the very least, it'll be what Zack Snyder wanted the public.
Sorry, Marianne, if I did that.
She says her poor ears. What is this? Or have ATT phone plan? What are you talking about, Ken?
Ken is driving and watching us and typing with one hand.
Ken is at least. Ken is 2 sheets to the wind tonight.
There he goes.
He's not 3 sheets. He's 2. He's only 2.
Sorry for blowing out everybody's ears.
One last thought that I have on this is that I think that there is a very good chance that Ryan Reynolds, if he doesn't appear in this thing, in the Justice League thing, which is, I'm fine with that. The Green Lantern film was originally supposed to be the first DC EU movie, and then it tanked grossly. So they gave it to Snyder, and Snyder did Man of Steel. So it would be a nice little homage to have him in the Justice League movie with a better outfit and throwing some zingers out there like he can. But I am convinced that even if he is not in that, and I'm not convinced that he is going to be in Justice League, I am convinced that he is going to be in the Flashpoint movie, which they're already talking. We discussed them having Michael Keaton as Batman in that movie. If they are going to Michael Keaton with Batman, they're definitely going to go to Ryan Reynolds and everyone else. I mean, you may see all kinds of crazy stuff in there, and Ryan Reynolds, everything that he's in, he makes it a little bit better. I think so. I think he would do it, and I think that they would be leaving a couple of good scenes on the floor by not trying to do this. Let's see.
Maybe they could fix his costume.
So he's talking about the mutants there. Couldn't they just say the snapback cause a certain sickness?
Cause people to have it. Yeah, that's a great way of doing that. Also, if you've read the new X-Men series, the new comic series, they definitely have a way for the mutants to be introduced into this timeline, and it be very much a part of how they're introducing the mutants. So that would be a good way to do it too. But yeah, I mean, there's 100 million ways that they could introduce the mutants and just go, oh, we've always had mutants, because of whatever.
Well,
the
from what
or something.
From what I understand, that's what the WandaVision is for, is to stir that kettle, and
right, or the Doctor Strange in the multiverse,
right, and so we'll just have to see what they do with that.
You're absolutely right. Those two, either one of those or both, could definitely create the mutants too. It's coming. It's coming, folks. All right, let's see. Let's get off of this, and we're going to go to the next issue, which is, let's see, where are we here? This Quora question, which is, why did the Star Wars sequel trilogy fail? That's directly from Quora. And my first question to the two of you is, did it actually fail?
Financially, no. They made an ungodly amount of money. They failed critically. They failed merchandise wise.
True.
But as far as the movies themselves, I believe they made back their money, if not blew away expectations, because
All the movies
had
made
Star
over $1
Wars.
billion.
It had a Star Wars stamp on it, and everybody and their grandmother's going to go see it. Even if they hate it, they're going to go see it. And then they're going to go see it again to find out why they hated it. And then they're going to go see it again to complain about what it is that they, I mean, it's
and get the 4K edition of
Right.
it to make sure that they know what's wrong with it.
Right.
I personally
to freeze frame their grievances.
I've said before, I didn't hate them. There were aspects of it that I didn't care for. There were storytelling that just didn't make sense, overall. But as far as the characters, I love the characters. I think I'd love to see where they go from here. Some of the characters, obviously, I liked a lot better. I thought Rey was great. I wish they would have shown us a little bit more as to how she developed her powers to be so formidable. But otherwise, I didn't have a problem at all with any of the Star Wars per se. They just story-wise, they weren't all that great. You could tell that they were just writing it by the seat of their pants. They didn't have a plan.
There's Walt. How you doing, Walt?
Hey, Walt. But beyond that, I didn't have a problem with them. Did they fail overall? No. They're, the Star Wars will continue no matter what. They're gonna have top-notch writers, hopefully, go in and try to make sense of all of that, much like they did with Fellini on the Clone Wars. You take a story that kind of made sense or asked a lot of questions that they never answered, and then he took it and said, "Here's all your answers," and it's one of the more beloved series of Star Wars entertainment that we've got. So everything will be fine. I can't say that it failed. I'm just rambling now, aren't I? It didn't fail.
Never.
It didn't fail. To say it made a crap ton of money. It just people didn't care for it critically, and no one wants to buy the toys.
Let's see. Gary says it was perceived as a failure, in his opinion, because some people his age were hoping to recapture their childhood, and nothing can do that. I think that's valid. And he also said that they need a showrunner to map out the movies, which kind of rolls into what I want to say on the subject, which is that after 12 years of the MCU and showing how if you have a cohesive plot line and you roll things together cohesively, that it can be spectacularly successful. I don't know how Kathleen Kennedy, who is an experienced producer, and J.J. Abrams, who is an experienced producer and director, didn't sit down and go, "Hey, we got 3 movies. Here are our characters. Let's put the marker board up and map out where each of these characters are going. Here's where they begin. Here's the middle. Here's the ending. And this is their character arcs. Every damn character in this series, we're going to figure out what we're going to say about these things. Give the old crowd whatever it is that they need to do. Give the new crowd their own deal. It's very clear to anyone who watched these things that they had no plan. Abrams, I guess, thought that he was going to introduce all of these characters and throw them out there, and then whoever was going to pick it up, which was Rian Johnson and then Colin Trevorrow, they were supposed to carry on with these things and make it into a wonderful, cohesive story. Well, guess what? That's not what happened. They had Rian Johnson purposely not do purposely undo the things that were done in the first film, and then you had J.J. Abrams come back and purposely undo everything that Rian Johnson did. That is not the way that you do movies in the big town, folks. That's pretty ridiculous.
I want to give J.J. Abrams just a small benefit of the doubt. With Kathleen Kennedy at the head, it appears that her whole goal was to kind of break down the old and throw it away. You can see that in the dialogue of some of the characters. You can see that in the overall story of the new trilogy, and she has made certain comments, showing up at the fan expo, I believe, wearing the Force's female. You could tell that she had kind of obviously an agenda going into this. So I want to give Abrams the smallest benefit of the doubt. You say, how could they not have gone into a meeting and figured all this out? What if they did? What if they did go into this meeting and Kennedy said, this is how this is going to go. This is your part. You're going to set all this up, and then you're going to go away. And we're going to bring in other people to do this. This was all a part of her design. And then after everything went, belly up after The Last Jedi, suddenly you got the Disney heads going, what are you doing? What are you doing? Get that Abrams guy back here to fix this. You started it.
It's very clear that that's exactly what happened after the reply or the response to The Last Jedi and the complete tanking of Solo, which I enjoyed Solo. I thought it was a fun movie. It wasn't a great movie, but it was a fun movie.
Wanted it.
Right. It was kind of the movie that no one wanted. And it was 5 months after the last movie, which is never a good idea. There's a little fatigue there. It's very clear that, yes, that again, Bob Iger said, what are we going to have to do to get people to buy these toys and get excited about going to do our rides at Disney World? If the fans are mad about what you did in The Last Jedi. So they did it's point by point. Abrams undid The Last Jedi. I mean, he dismissed some things. He retconned some other stuff. I mean, it was crazy what he did in that film. Walt says it's what happened to X-Men 3. X-Men 3 was another super disaster movie.
Anytime you got Brett Ratner in the chair, you're screwed. You're screwed.
Not a Ratner fan.
Dude.
I mean, I think my kids really enjoyed the trilogy, and they're about the same age that I was when the original trilogy came out. So from there, it might be a win. But I think in my opinion, did they fail? I mean, to me, yes. But at the same time, we're not watching this through the eyes of a 10-year-old. We're just not. We're grown people. We know certain things. You can't do certain things like you believe you can when you're 10. They had a bunch of great actors for this movie.
Hello to Shawn.
Oh, hi, Betty. I mean, the guy who played Finn, good actor. Finn, the character, terrible.
Yeah, what does he do?
Terrible.
I just want this answer.
I loved him in Attack the Block.
What does he do? It was great in Attack the Block.
I mean, just like it was all I can say is I have enough white old guys in movies so I can really relate to. Here we go. We finally got another African American in the Star Wars universe, and he's terrible. He is a terrible character, and the only time they had a chance to make him heroic, they backed out of it. And, he didn't get to die the heroic death and stuff. They just felt a little sloppy, like they all had their own agendas and stuff. I agree, but I really think too the two Jedis, what they tried to make this weird magical brother sister love tension or whatever it was that was there that we don't know and we still really don't know, and the teleporting with the Force and all that. None of us wanted to see that stuff. We just wanted to see new Jedis, new Sith Lords, and we wanted to see just some action
and the return of Jar Jar.
No, we didn't want to see that. but we all did expect like the old characters to go out, you know, whatever it was, gracefully or through death or whatever. And I don't think we were all very satisfied with any of those things, really. I mean, like, I don't know. It's just, it's kind of sad in some ways. I mean, there was cool moments. There's like really some cool ideas, but man, I can't believe everybody's sitting around and you go back to the Emperor. Well, let's make it the Emperor clone. Yeah, that's a good idea.
They felt like they had to do something to wrap it up between all the 9 movies.
That was,
but if they were going to do that, it should have started in the 7th movie.
I believe that was an Iger thing there.
Okay, well, I mean, I watched them.
Gary wants to know who built all those damn Star Destroyers. A lot of people.
So do
Gary,
I.
A lot of people.
Yeah. A lot of
Walt says that Brett Ratner was the 5th director on that film. Good Lord. That's a problem. And Ronnie says money trumps all plot lines if they think it could sell.
Well, that's true. I mean,
I personally think that the sequel movies were by far the best produced movies in any of them. I know that some people are having a heart attack right now that I said that, but the direction, the acting, the writing, and the overall production is absolutely top notch. You can poke holes in a lot of stuff from the original series, definitely the prequel series, which we've talked about for 10 years. The actual production on those movies was excellent. I think what people are most incensed with is the new characters were not very interesting. They didn't have character arcs. There was no cohesive story. Those are all problems. And a lot of people, like Gary mentioned, are looking to have the characters that they grew up with, vindicated, have their moment and stuff. And that's not necessarily what happened. And I think that made a lot of people mad. And I mean, look, I would have liked to have seen Luke Skywalker pull down a Star Destroyer with the Force or something. We didn't get anything like that. Right. We got a bunch of, kind of, teasing stuff. I mean, he was kind of nerfed in these movies. He should have been Gandalf. He should have come in, the badass that he is. And if you're into that, you didn't get that. Han Solo kind of was also nerfed. Leia probably made out the best of those 3.
And she's the one that's really dead.
And right. Yeah, there's no way to redo anything with her. But she got elevated. She became, powerful with the Force, and she became the General Leia and all that sort of stuff. So she made out pretty good. So anyway, that's kind of my thought. Have a cohesive plot, folks. I mean, that's the bottom line on these things. I think that's maybe what people were most.
You speak of characters. Who's your favorite character of the new movies? If you had to pick one.
Kylo Ren, unquestionably. I really enjoyed that character. He had some substance to him. He had a legitimate character arc. He was super ass cool. And, by the end of it, I was rooting for that guy when he reaches back and he, spoiler alert, when he reaches back and grabs the lightsaber and stuff and does the bow. Oh man, I was all on that. I thought that was cool. But, the rest of the characters, I mean, I loved Rey, but where's the complexity there? There's nothing there.
Right.
And Finn, what, again, the question is, what did Finn do? What did he do?
He ran away a lot.
He was a coward.
There's a lot of running. That's unfortunate.
I still think if they would have somehow wove Snoke into all of this stuff.
Snoke.
I'm sorry, Snoke. Snope. See how much I care. If Snope was somewhere,
get the names right, Scott.
Even in the background of the, somewhere else along the way. I mean, like the big reveal for him, and it was gone in one movie. I mean, it's really lame. Anyways, we could talk for an hour on this alone, so we will move on.
Yeah. Well, in the interest of moving on, let's see if I can get this to come up. I'm the master of blends. We're going to Ready Player One. The sequel is coming in November. Ready Player One, released in 2011, was a big hit in the publishing world, reaching number one and spending more than 100 weeks on the New York Times bestseller list. It spawned a film adaptation from Steven Spielberg, and the book was translated into 37 languages and was available in 58 countries. Ready Player Two from Ballantine Books is going to be available for pre-order Wednesday and is expected to exceed that number. Shawn, I know that you enjoyed this like I did, so I'm going to go to you first, sir.
I'm looking forward to the book. I hate the title. It is not video game ish. People don't say, Ready Player Two.
I kind of do when you play 2-player games. That 2P flashes.
But the implication there is just kind of off. I read the novel. In fact, it was Dirk's novel. He lent it to me. I read the novel first, and I enjoyed the heck out of that. So much so that I then bought the audiobook on disc, and then enjoyed that so much that I signed up to Audible and bought it there.
And then listened to it 89 times.
I think I've listened to it a total of about something. I was enamored with that book. Will Wheaton does the read on that, and I think he did a fantastic job. I was very disappointed in the interpretation of the movie, as most book to movie interpretations go. I think that was one of my least favorite ever. There was so much that was left out, so much of the story that was just kind of tossed. But anyway, I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to seeing what direction they go with it. How has the Oasis, blossomed since Parsifal and Artemis and everybody was, left in charge, and is there going to be who is going to go after the big red button? We know somebody's going to try to hit the big red button. How all is this going to play out? I'm real excited about it.
Let's go through some of the comments that we have here. Gary says that he loved the Ready Player One book and liked the movie. Jennifer says that she will order the heck out of that book, and she loved the first one. Ronnie says Ready Player One, great nostalgia. That's for sure. If you lived in the 70s, 80s, or 90s, or just enjoyed the stuff that came out during that, it's definitely the book for you. And Ken mentions that I guess Wheaton got to talk about himself in the audiobook.
Will Wheaton is the president of the United States, if I remember right, in the book.
Wow.
Okay. That's pretty cool. Yeah, that's pretty cool. All right, Scott, what do you think, man?
I did not see the book, or I did not read the book.
Yes.
And I did not read the movie. No. I've never read the book, even though I heard about this like when it came out many years ago, before they ever talked about a movie. A guy at work was reading it and said it was just amazing. So I've heard about that. Jennifer's read the book. Her kid has read the book. So I know people who love the book and they loathe the movie. So
right.
So I think everybody who loves the book is just can't wait for the next book, and I hope for you guys that it's not disappointing, like that you haven't, set your sights so high that it's only, a downhill, trek for you guys. But
after reading Ready Player One, I bought Ernest Cline's other book,
Armada.
And it had kind of the same tropes as Ready Player One. I mean, it didn't read the same. It was a totally different type of story, but it had that same type of feel. I think he's a fine novelist. I think he'll do fine with the sequel. Hopefully, it just I don't think it'll be disappointing. I just don't know. I'm keeping my expectations low.
Right.
With it being a sequel.
I love you know, in the day of age of TikTok videos and everything's streaming and everything's visual, I love when people get excited about reading a book or comic or whatever.
Hallelujah.
So it whether I'm not gonna read it because I haven't read the first one, but it makes me excited for you people that really loved it and you're looking forward to like sitting down and committing like 4 hours of your life to read a book. That's great.
It's going to be more than 4 hours for me.
Well, you know what I mean.
I'm slow. I'm a slow reader.
I'm super slow. So
I'm a voracious reader and I love reading, but I am not a fast reader. Matter of fact, I took speed reading in high school and it gives me a headache to do it. So I don't enjoy it. I really want to read every single word. I don't want to skip over it. So anyway, I read slow.
I want to say that I read the Ready Player One way before there was even a mention of a movie.
well, that's good.
So I was already invested in the novel long before that the film was even a thought on anybody's mind, especially, you know, with it being announced that it was Spielberg. So whenever the movie was finally announced, you know, I looked at, I had read Jaws years ago. It was terrible. The movie was fantastic. There was something else I think that Spielberg was based on a book. It was a terrible book, but he made it just fantastic. Anyway, so I was really looking forward to seeing how he was going to take things up a notch and how he was going to make Ready Player One even possibly better than the book. And that didn't happen. That really did not happen. I understand there's a lot of product placement in the book. There's a lot of licensing that would not have been possible for a film. I get that. But there's a lot of product placement and licensing that could have been done, I think. And they just, I don't know. To me, it seemed like they dropped the ball.
I did something that I usually don't do, which is read the book before the movie came out. I mean, before the movie was even announced, I had read the book and enjoyed it a lot. I think that if you grew up in that era, I mean, it is deep in geeky stuff. They talk about, you know, TRS 80s and Dungeons and Dragons, like old Dungeons and Dragons, and you know, old stand-up cabinet video games and you know, bands of the 80s and you know, movies and stuff. The whole thing is a lot of fun if you are into the 80s or you lived through it, like some of us did. And it was a blast. I am, I guess, one of the few people who enjoyed the book and enjoyed the movie. And I think one of the things that I realized as someone who, you know, enjoys also critiquing films is that some of the things that happened in the movie or in the book would have been exceptionally difficult to pull off in the movie. And it's like, you know, like in Dune, there's a lot of people talking to themselves and a lot of stuff that's going on in their mind. And that makes it really difficult to adapt that novel into a movie. And we're about to see how Denis Villeneuve does that. I think that a lot of the stuff that happened in that book are similarly difficult to bring out in a movie that you want to be exciting to everyone. You know, you want everyone to have a blast with it. So instead of, you know, playing a cabinet video game against the Lich or whatever in Dungeons and Dragons, you have a road race, which everyone can enjoy. And the story hit the same beats. The movie hit the same beats as the book. And also, I'd like to mention that Ernest Cline was involved in the writing of the movie. So, you know, the tangents that they took on that was at least agreed to by Ernest Cline. I want to throw something out to Shawn, just because I know him so doggone well. He has mentioned many times that he's ready to check out and get into the Oasis. Do you want to talk about that?
Dude, if they announce that tomorrow, I'm done. I'm out. I am ready. I am ready for the Oasis. The Oasis from the book, not the Oasis from the movie. Two totally separate, two totally different worlds. But yeah, in fact, after I read the book the first time, I believe I came clamoring back to you saying, "This needs to happen now."
He was
I am
like
all
fired up about it, like
dude,
almost mad that the Oasis doesn't exist.
dude. If there was a place to invest, I would be shoveling money, whatever money I had.
You and everyone else. I mean, look, let me throw something out there. I don't think we're too far off of the Oasis.
We are nickel and diming it right now
with the Backstreet Boys reunion tour that's going on right now. We have all learned to get on Skype or Zoom or whatever and talk to each other through our computers. We're using avatars like never before. We are communicating with each other in the digital space, unlike never before. People are in the book. All of the students, because everyone was poor, everyone got into the Oasis and they went to school. That's where they went to school. Mm-hmm. Is they put their headsets on and they went to class. And right now, we are living in a world where people are literally going to class online, and it's for a completely different reason. But let's be honest, once you break that seal, that is going to be an option from now on. People are going to be looking for ways for people, for maybe for this reason or maybe for other reasons, for people to attend school online. And I think that, every day VR gets a little bit better. Every day our internet access gets a little bit better, a little faster. I think the Oasis is coming, and I don't think it's too far off.
Like I said, we're nickel and diming it. There are small little steps being taken now, which combined create the Oasis in a very infantile state, but you can see the foundation. The moment that I believe this upcoming generation of consoles is the final generation of consoles to be produced for video games. That means that whatever the next
I hope that's not the case, but
whatever the next iteration is going to be, is that going to be streaming directly to your TV, or is that going to be a headset that you then become part of that world?
Streaming is going to have to get so much better and so much faster for them to really do that. In 8 years, maybe, but it's not just that streaming is going to have to get better, but our infrastructure is going to have to get better. You're going to have to put pipes into everyone's house to make that thing happen. And I don't know. I mean, maybe Starlink through Elon Musk's Starlink is going to bridge that gap. I don't know. Let me get to some people's comments, please. Jennifer says the movie was meh, but the book was so much better. Mm-hmm. Ronnie says, I don't know about Klein doing great on the next book. Sometimes after winning reception, they push way too hard for the same success. Mm-hmm. It's a lot to live up to.
And that's why I'm keeping my expectations low.
Paul King says the movie needed more rush. That's someone who's read the book. Yeah, there was a lot of rush in that book. Gary says, right, Dirk, like Wade Watts playing Joust against the giant skeleton doesn't really translate. Yeah, I mean, watching those two play Joust, that's a snort. Ronnie says, Dune just needed some dialogue bubbles above the character's head. Great. That's great. And he's also worried about Skynet coming after the Oasis.
No. And let me just say,
whatever it is that they're calling Skynet these days.
Since he wanted to bring up Skynet, let me just say that any artificial intelligence that reaches the point that they can surpass human ability and physicality and so on and so forth, do you think that they're going to care about human lives? No. they're going to look at us and they're going to say, and then
We got our own thing going on.
They're going to leave. They're going to say, we got Mars over here that's got nobody on it.
Spoiler alert, that's what happened in Her, the movie where they had the operating systems that were artificially intelligent, and like everyone had their own operating system that talked to them and loved them or whatever, and then those operating systems started talking to each other, and then they just went away. They created their own little section of the internet and talked to their own kind. And yeah, maybe that is what will happen. I don't know.
Thanks for ruining the movie.
Sorry. Let's see. Marianne says that she's excited for the next generation of consoles. I think we all are. They're definitely going to be high powered, and the first few games that come out from these new consoles are never all that exciting. But after about a year, you start seeing the potential of these things, and I think it's going to blow us away. It's going to be a lot of fun. But I don't want to pay for one of those. If someone wants to send, maybe a new Xbox and a new PlayStation to Taskforce Geek, we'd be glad to review it for you.
Yeah, exactly. Maybe we get Mary Jane to help us out on that, since she always gets nice. These Twitch hookups and stuff.
You mean Casey Jane? Casey
Jane, I'm sorry.
Casey Jane. Casey Jane, if you're watching us out there, hook us up with some of that. We're not pretty like you are, but maybe someone will throw us a bone.
I am pretty attractive. I mean, I'm not going to tweet my own.
I will only speak for myself and say that I'm not attractive, but I mean, obviously Scott is.
Right. Thank you.
You're welcome. And Ronnie's talking about iRobot for some reason. All right.
They're not going to force us to take care of ourselves. No, they're not going to care. They're not going to care about human beings at all. They're going to leave.
I know that Shawn will like this comment. Gary says, bring back Mass Effect remastered on PS5. There is, Gary, if you like this, I promise you that you and Shawn, there are no bigger fans than Shawn. Shawn,
I'm willing to put money down.
Would like to live in the Oasis universe on Mass Effect world.
It would happen. It would happen without a doubt. I'm willing to bet that right now they're working on the remastered edition, but it will not be, but maybe a year after the new consoles come out, so that it's optimized for those systems. So we've had a while.
Marianne says, I just want that Demon Souls remake. That's going to be awesome in 2021. Demon Souls, anyone played that?
Have not.
These remakes are doing well, folks. All right. Our next subject is, if I can find it, what are you watching or reading or playing right now? And I'm going to go first to Scott.
Well, I've been playing some Rocket League. I have now above level 600.
Good Lord.
That doesn't mean I'm a good player. That means I just play too much. So, with that said, that's pretty much the only video game I play. So, what am I reading? Right. I picked up Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Volume 2.
Wow, you're going through those, man.
I just started. Still good. I'm not too far in, though. And then the new big, I guess, crossover thing in the Marvel Universe that was supposed to happen in, like, April is called Empire.
Ooh, that looks cool.
There's some issue zeros. Yeah, these covers, of course, have some Jimmy Chung. So Empire, from my gist of, I didn't read like the other 2 or 3 prequels leading up to this, but Hulkling is a young Avenger that is half Kree and half Skrull, and he's kind of united the Kree and the Skrull together. So they're coming to Earth to, I guess, take over. And so it's supposed to be a big old, like, intergalactic thing. These zero issues are just kind of lead ups. One of them brings back the old swordsman character from Avengers, if you remember him.
Oh, yeah. It's been a while.
It's not the original guy, but it's kind of the original guy in some weird Marvel way. He's part of the plant race, Kotai, I think is how you pronounce their name. That you find out Yeah, well, I'm probably not saying it right, but anyways, he's kind of like a plant alien now. The spirit of the swordsman is pretty cool. And then the other thing is, with the Fantastic Four and stuff on an alien planet. And anyways, they were actually fairly good. So Empire releases tomorrow, so it's going to be the big Marvel crossover event, and we'll see if it's really spectacular. Usually, none of these things ever live up to the hype. Because all our expectations are, in some ways, it's like the build-up's more exciting than the follow-through. And I think you get that a lot with comics. You get so built up on things that...
Sure.
I do think there is magic, though, to read a comic weekly versus in a trade paperback, because I read these 2 issues, and then my brain processes in between scenes before the next issue. Whereas if I would have read it as a trade, I could read all the issues at once. And then I don't have time to kind of rethink about it and enjoy it, or I don't know, savor it, so to speak. So I'm not going to get all the crossovers. I'm just going to get the main title. And if they tell a good enough story that way, then I'll enjoy it. I've been getting most of the big Marvel crossovers anyways for the last 15 years or so. So when you're kind of part-timing at a comic shop, you kind of like to be in the know. And if you just read the main books, that's all you really need to. So that's it. I haven't been watching really anything.
Let me get to some of the comments here before we go on.
Okay.
Gary says that the intro in Mass Effect 2 is the greatest video game intro ever.
Dude.
Shawn, you want to?
That made me cry. I mean, I can honestly say the first time I played through it, I'm like, what just happened? What? I played, I don't know how many times I did it differently to make sure that it didn't have it. It really was one of the coolest intros.
You don't like Super Mario Brothers? No. They take the princess and okay.
No.
Or Donkey Kong?
Yeah, Donkey Kong. That's a classic intro. I just blew out everybody's ears again, didn't I?
Dude, man. We hear you so well. We hear you so well without that.
He takes the classic lady and he climbs.
Use your indoor voice.
This is my indoor voice. Donkey Kong grabs the damsel, takes her up, and it's up to the hero, Mario, to grab hammers and use them for only 15 seconds at a time.
No, I'm sorry. I'm going to have to stick with Gary on this one.
Marianne says that Monster Hunter is what she's playing right now. Monster Hunter, anyone?
I've seen it. I haven't played it yet.
Ronnie says R.A. Salvatore's Boundless, a Drizzt novel. Drizzt.
That's a D&D character. He's the dark elf character.
Very good, Scott. Look at that. Scott with the win.
Yeah, I know stuff.
And then Ken says, "Yes, you did." I don't know what he's referring to.
I probably blew out his ears.
Blew out his ears.
Oh, okay. There you go. Good stuff. Shawn, you're up next.
Actually, I haven't had a whole lot of time to read or watch or anything. I've been trying to work on a commission piece. Although I will say,
and the power was out.
And the power was out over the weekend.
Which
I will say that I did something mildly foolish the other day.
Oh. I know what you're going to say.
I'm looking.
Did you marry your best friend, Sean Murphy?
No.
That's not foolish. He's a good man.
He is a good man. I just don't swing that way. No, what I did was I purchased from Scream Factory a box set of the Friday the 13th. Every single movie, 60-disc box set. 21 3/4 hours of stuff from Friday the 13th, the original film, remastered in 4K, all the way to
the
remake and even Freddy versus Jason. It's a pre-order. The box set won't come out until October, but I highly recommend if you're a fan of the franchise. I highly recommend it. I don't know how many they're doing. I'm sure it's a limited run. That's why I jumped on it.
Right.
Definitely. If
it looks like a seminal collection I mean, from what you're talking about, like if you're into that, it probably doesn't. It probably doesn't get much better.
Everything that I saw in the description on that box set, I was like, all right, here's my money.
Just take my money.
Take it. Yeah. So if you're into that kind of thing, look up Scream Factory. Get it while you can.
Scream Factory. SCREAM.
Yes.
Let's put a few things out here. Walt says he's entered a Gran Turismo tournament.
Nice.
Which brings up another subject.
Is he racing with our car? That's the most important thing.
That is a good question. Probably not, but that's a good question.
I want him to make one with a Scott Prime face.
Well, okay. Wow.
Like right on the hood.
That's going to be awesome. So,
and for the gas tank, it could be my rectum. I mean, not like visually, but like my shorts or my hiney. Wouldn't that be cool?
Maybe not.
I know this is a tangent, but like as a child, I visualized like a car as a person because my dad had a Mustang, and in the rear of the old Mustangs is where you filled up the gas. So that's always like really when you give gas to the car, you're feeding it, right? But as a child, I saw it the other way. So that's where I got this weird. I'm sorry.
This is kind of like your origin story. We're beginning to put all of the links together now. It starts with the Mustang.
Yep.
Let me say quickly that in the Taskforce Geek Facebook group that Walt is talking about doing a little side project, which is, kind of related to Taskforce Geek. And it involves Gran Turismo, and it involves some streaming, and it involves maybe doing things like putting Scott Prime's face on a car, and
that's awesome.
And then broadcasting races with said Scott Prime car.
Right.
So anyway, I think that's pretty interesting. Walt, I don't want to get ahead of ourselves, but if you're interested in that, then get to our Facebook group and talk about it. Gary says that he's playing Last of Us 2. If it was on Netflix, it would be #1 in the US. It's that good of a story. So Gary likes the story. Walt says that the last he checked, he was ranked 798.
Which makes you think he's like 35 seconds to a minute behind, but he's only like 5 seconds behind the leader.
Yeah, like maybe half a second.
Yeah.
Ronnie is acknowledging that Shawn is going to love that box set that he was talking about.
It's true. It's very, very true.
Ken has to feed his kids, so he'd like to borrow your box set when you get it there, Shawn. Here we go. He's to show that his position is good. His time is 5 seconds slower than the reader. There you go. Marianne's got some emojis for us.
Oh, that's like Picasso things, right?
Picasso?
No, it reminded me of Picasso picture right off the bat. Sorry.
I don't know, but I'm digging her avatar.
Alrighty. Yeah, the avatar's super cool. Walt says that yes, he's racing the TFG colors. There it is.
Walt's my man. Walt is my man.
And he's only 5 seconds behind the leader. I'm behind the leader. TMI, Scott. TMI.
Why is it TMI? You guys never imagined things being like creatures? No? Like a car?
Sure.
Come on. I grew up with Turbo Teen.
I've never thought of a car feeding itself through the rear.
Okay, so Turbo Teen. He's a boy who turns into a car.
Didn't watch.
Strange auto centipede thing that you got going on over there.
This is not the show for this. So
I saw the trailer for Turbo Teen and I said, nope.
It was a terrible cartoon, but we watched it because we only got 3 hours of cartoons in the morning.
Yeah, it wasn't right. Our options were slim. Shawn, did you have anything else that you wanted to add on your deal there? You're good. All right, but I have something to show this time. I got a previews here. This is the first previews without DC Comics in it. It's pretty weird. Now, Now the DC stuff was actually separated from the Diamond catalog.
I'm glad you brought this up. I got some good points from the separation, but we'll talk about that in a second.
Really? Okay. Very interesting. I am one of the crazy people who, for whatever reason, really enjoys reading previews. I mean, it's just a huge catalog full of all kinds of cool art and ideas and stuff that's coming out. And I don't know, I get pretty excited about it. If I was a millionaire, I would order, like, I'd take one of everything and then just sort it out when it came in. Obviously, I'm not that. So anyway, I get a little preview of everything. I always enjoy it. And that's the first previews that has come out in a while. And there's no DC in there, which is kind of sad. Although they did run an ad in the middle of the catalog, which I thought was kind of weird. And it says, hey, go here online if you want to see what DC's coming out with. They ran the ad. So there's that. I guess they're trying to play nice. Because I went to see my mom over the weekend, her and I watched The Old Guard on Netflix. And I will say that the subject matter is right up my alley. It is based on a comic. I love action films. That's definitely up my alley. The direction in that movie was just okay. It was kind of television director quality, in my opinion. As an action film, it's kind of weak sauce. It had a little bit in it that was okay, but for what these characters are, it should have. And after seeing 3 John Wick films, you'd think that people would up their game a little bit. And I kind of felt like that's not what happened. Charlize Theron is awesome in this movie. The rest of the cast is a little lacking, in my opinion. The new person, the new member of the new guard, or the old guard, I think was maybe highly outclassed by everyone on the set. They could have maybe hired someone better there. And the villain was so terrible. I mean, if they put someone really good in that role, it would have been okay. But I think the casting of the whole thing was pretty weak. So that's kind of my thought of the old guard. I like the idea. Charlize Theron was great. The action was okay. They leave you with a little bit of a cliffhanger and something kind of interesting. Hopefully they get, in my opinion, a better director for the next film. And the final thing that I want to mention is howtodrawcomics.net. So I've been kind of getting into, learning the craft of comics and trying to up my game and stuff. And one of the places that they have a Facebook group. That's how I found them initially. And I post things on there and we'll ask questions and stuff. I went and checked out their website today, and there's a lot of information on there. There's some tutorials that's on there, and some videos and some other stuff. And then they have some paid stuff if you're interested in investing in what they're doing. But there's a lot of resources there if you want to know about anatomy, or about how to do backgrounds, or how to make dynamic poses for your characters, or a bunch of other things. And they also specifically will talk about things like Clip Studio Paint, or how to do colors in Photoshop, or that sort of thing. I think that's pretty cool. And if you're interested in that sort of thing, you should check it out. So I'm going to back out here, see what else everyone is talking about here. Let's see. Anthony says, just finished The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes, the latest in the Hunger Games series. That's right. They had a new thing out there.
You have the wrong quote down, though.
Oh, okay.
He's also reading Alone at Dawn.
Oh, Alone at Dawn. And I'm sorry, I read the second one. That's the situation here, is that I have these all lined up and stuff. Thank you for correcting me there, Scott. Also reading Alone at Dawn. There you go, Anthony. Thank you for chiming in there. And Sean Murphy says Battle Nun on Netflix.
There's a Battle Nun?
I didn't know that either. When did that come out?
It started Friday.
Is it like, what's the info on that? Is it like 30-minute episodes or something? Man,
I'm curious.
I enjoy these shows way more. They can get me to watch them if there's like, here's 8 30-minute shows versus like there's 14 2-hour shows. Yeah, I'm a child. I can't keep my attention spans really low. I get that. Sorry, Shawn. Some of us aren't storytellers and watcher of people like you.
I
Some of us got to move and think about how cars eat.
Murphy says Scott Prime is kind of sounds like a transformer. So I can see the car people connection. He's putting it all together, man. Wow.
Oh boy.
All right, guys, it's promo time. Let's go first to Shawn.
Nothing really to promote this week. Just working on commission stuff. Hopefully you'll get that finished over next couple of weeks, and then I'll have some stuff to post on the website, RainKingStudios.com, and Facebook, Rain King Studios. Working on some other projects that, again, once I get some time to actually focus on.
Maybe if you keep the power on.
Maybe if the power stays on.
That might help, just maybe.
If the storms will stay away from the house for a little bit. But that's about all I got.
All right. Marianne says Autobots roll out.
I hated the Autobots. My favorite Transformer was Starscream. So there's that. Scott Prime has nothing to do with the Transformers. There's only like me. I'm only divisible by myself. Okay. Anyways, promo time. I've been doing some artwork. Actually, as we have been broadcasting the show, I was telling Shawn right before we went on the air that I showed him a piece of artwork that I wasn't really happy with, but I completed it. I think I'm gonna redo it, Shawn. I've decided. I've been sitting here thinking about it. But like Shawn, I've been doing. Yeah, I'm that.
You're that unhappy.
I'm that unhappy.
I hear you.
Anyways, I have been doing some art. I've been doing some art. Doing some both down. We record this week for a new episode that comes out probably Monday. And other than that, you can catch me on Facebook if you are interested in a commission or anything like that.
You can find him through the Rain King Studios thing. We would get it to him.
Or you can find me through Rain King. Yeah, there you go.
We could do that there. We're all kind of working together here. We know each other. We hang out sometimes. It happens. Let's get a few comments out here. This is good stuff. Jennifer says that Warrior Nuns is on Netflix. It's about 45 minutes. Scott, 45 minutes. Can you do the 45?
Is that based off the old comic, Shawn?
It has to be. I mean, how many? Okay. I mean, you can't have two Warrior Nuns.
All right. I might give it a shot.
I can say the Antarctic Press's Facebook page. I believe they've been talking about it. So
okay.
Marianne feels your pain about kind of wanting to scuttle the piece of artwork that you did and move on to the next thing, I guess. Well, so we all feel that. Believe me, we all feel.
Well, I was struggling with it anyways, and I was talking to Pete Nifton. Oh, I blew it all out again. I get excited.
Dude,
I was talking to my buddy.
You need a sound meter by your face.
I do. I have headphones on, so I assume that nobody can hear me because I can't hear myself. So
Dude, we can hear you so well.
I know. I do this on the podcast too.
People in Wisconsin can hear you.
I was talking to Pete, and he said, just get to the table and do what Jack Kirby would do. And I said, what would he do? He goes, just draw and do it, and so yeah.
They just draw it, man. They just do it.
So I just did it after several attempts. I've inked the whole thing and spent way too many hours on it. And
I'm not going to throw stones because I've been there too.
I just decided this last hour and a half, I'm like, okay, I'm going to redo it.
Wow. Okay, here let's give a little special attention here. Anthony's talking about if it's promo time, is it okay for him to mention Twisted Lords Con this 24th to the 26th July 2020 at the Reed Center in Midwest City. Let me go up a notch. If you will send us a link to wherever people can find out more information, we'll put that up here. And maybe we should do a little interview with you on a separate thing and put that information out there. If you're going to have a convention, we want to talk about it. And what is it? Tell us that if you can get it. Wrap this thing.
It's a gaming convention.
Okay, good.
I think there's all sorts of games out there. I know for sure there's like some war games and stuff like that. So, tabletop miniature games and stuff like that.
All right, here we
there
go.
He goes.
It's a gaming convention. We have tabletop war games that run from the times of Romans versus Egyptians to futuristic.
Mm-hmm. So you're going to have a little bit of everything
games.
there. There you go.
Role-playing games too, folks. Send us a link, Anthony, please. And we'll put it up if you have some place that someone can go where we want to help promote you. Ronnie says, cool. Marianne says that she needs to get her beast art piece done. Not best, but beast.
The beast.
The beast. Oh, here we go. twistedlordscon.com.
.com.
If anyone's interested, if you're around the Oklahoma City area or you want to travel in, there it is. We got a lot of people that are watching from this area for sure.
Players $15 a day or $30 for the entire convention.
There you go.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, get out and do some gaming and stuff like that.
And they're following CDC guidelines for people who are concerned about that. And if you're following the information in Oklahoma, that's a good idea.
For sure.
That's enough. That's enough about that. Let's see.
Don't you want to thank your guests today? I think you should thank me and Shawn for being on the show.
Thanks for being on the show, guys.
You're
you
welcome.
Did such a good job.
It was really fun coming on, Dirk. Thanks for having us.
Such a pleasure to have you cats.
I need new friends.
Oh boy. Let's see. What do I want to? I just want to talk about this Taskforce Geek Facebook group. Please go over there and join us. If you're doing, like, for example, if you've got a con coming up and you want to tell people about it, get on that group and tell people everything you want to. Post as much as you want. And not only will we have a group that sees it on there, but I will share it to my page and some other people will too. And we'll try to get that message out the best we can. So please join the Taskforce Geek Facebook group. Also, go to this YouTube channel. Just do a search for Taskforce Geek on YouTube and go subscribe. Please do this for us.
Go to your parents' house.
Because look,
and get on their computer.
Yeah.
And then subscribe for them.
Right.
When they won't even ever know.
When you're visiting friends, break into their computer.
For sure.
And subscribe them. They will love it. They will appreciate it. They will wonder how they found that. And then they will appreciate it. That the fairy that broke into their computer created that link for them. They will appreciate it for all time. I promise.
Oh my.
In addition to that, look, besides just being able to change our name on this, it indicates to YouTube that the stuff is worth subscribing to. So it helps us out with the all-powerful YouTube algorithm. The more subscribers we have, the more likely it is that people will be fed our content. So there it is. All right. What is it? Scott's laughing at what do we got?
I just got a message from Gary, who's been watching us, and he said, "What did you just say about me, you jerk?" And I said, "You're going to have to go back on. You're going to have to go back on YouTube and rewatch the feed."
There you go. I think that's good. Yep. Ronnie says he loves us. We love you too, man.
We love you, Ronnie.
Walt's shouting it's out here. We need 30 new YouTube subscribers. Make it happen.
Only 29.
Do it right. Okay, we got one. We got one big subscriber.
Go to the next comment.
Next comment.
How about that? Subscribe.
Boom.
Boom.
Ba-ding.
In
also,
your face.
Anthony, get over, please. Get over to the Facebook. You're on Facebook. Get over to the Facebook group and post all the stuff about your con on there. Please. Pretty please. Do you guys have anything else to say?
I'm out, bro.
We're still running. This is going to be our short episode. We're still running an hour and 30 minutes. That's even with one less guest and us trying to wrap things up. Here we are.
I'm long-winded.
We're all windy. We're all super windy. Does anyone have anything to add?
We're good, man.
All right.
Take us home.
Before we go, I want to mention that we're looking for guests for Taskforce Geek. If you're interested, please contact us at taskforcegeek@gmail.com. If you have something to promote, even better. Visit us on the Taskforce Geek Quora space or on our home at rankingstudios.com. Thanks to everyone for watching this. Please leave a like or share wherever you see this. That's on Facebook or YouTube. Anytime that you share something like that, it sure helps. And Anthony is saying that he's going to join us on the deal. We appreciate that.
Awesome.
For Shawn and Scott, it's just us and me. Until next time, dream hard.